I want to take a moment to tell you about Shipt Grocery Delivery. Shipt launched a few years ago in Birmingham, Alabama, founded on the mission of simplifying lives. Shipt serves members, shoppers, and communities by offering convenience and freedom. So here's how it works. Scroll through the aisles of your local stores like Target, Publix, CVS, in the Shipt app and create an order. The Shipt shoppers then work their magic, keeping you connected and giving live updates from the aisles. Your order is then delivered and arrives as soon as 1 hour. It really is that easy. I use Shipt all the time, and let me tell you, going to the grocery store is not one of my favorite things to do. Shipt saves time, fuel, and headspace. With next hour same-day delivery, I have what I need when I need it, whether it's Monster energy drinks, ice cream, and even alcohol. Yes, Shipt can now deliver your favorite adult beverages. I regularly order from my local Target and Publix, but also have options to place orders at CVS and Petco. I absolutely love it. For listeners of this podcast, I'm giving you 50% off. Yes, half off an annual membership when you sign up. That's a $49 annual membership, which is regularly $99. You can cancel at any time, but I promise you, you won't do that after you use Shipt a few times. So here's what you need to do to take advantage of this offer. Head to my website, 99percentlocal.com/shipt. That's SHIPT.
Welcome to the 99% Local Podcast.
Hey there, it's Chris Green, host of the 99% Local Podcast. This podcast exists because I love meeting new, interesting people and sharing stories of success and sometimes failures. The 99% Local Podcast brings stories from Middle Tennessee and Nashville-based entrepreneurs, business owners, organizations, side hustlers, musicians, authors, and anyone else that might be interesting and has a story to tell. Everybody has a story, their own unique upbringings, and passions for why they're doing what they're doing. As far as the name of the podcast goes, well, I think you'll be able to figure that out on your own. Hey there, podcast family. Welcome to episode number 30 of the podcast. I'm super excited about this week's episode and the guests specifically. Are any of you missing baseball as much as I am? Well, maybe this episode will help fill that void a little bit. I have my first professional athlete on this podcast, and it's funny because when I told him that, he said, "Thanks for considering him an athlete." That's just where the funny starts with this guy. I really don't need to do much of an introduction for Mr. Tim Dillard. Tim is a husband, father, and he calls himself an occasional baseball player. Most of you know Tim from his professional baseball career spanning back to the early 2000s and his years in both the Milwaukee Brewers and more recently the Texas Rangers organizations. While Tim has spent the majority of his years in the minor league system, he has had a few notable stints in the major leagues, and pretty much all around the major and minor league organizations Tim has been part of, he is known as being an all-around stand-up guy, a veteran, and a mentor. I should also mention he's the son of former Major League infielder Steve Dillard. Tim calls Nashville his home and has for over 10 years now, and if you know anything about our own Nashville Sounds baseball club, then you probably know of Tim or have seen him play. Tim has set many franchise records for the Sounds, while he has had stints with them from 2007 to 2014, and then again just last year. Okay, so here's how others may know of Tim Dillard. Off the field, Dillard is known for his social media videos, in which often involves his teammates, his best friends, and even recently, while we've all been quarantined, his family. Just for context, one thing to note about our discussion is that it took place the first week of March this year before the whole COVID-19 pandemic took over and before the baseball season was officially postponed. Tim was at the tail end of spring training in Arizona when I hit him up to come on the podcast. So enjoy this episode with Tim Dillard as we talk all things baseball, Nashville, family life, and his viral social media videos. Finally, man, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
So what is it like a weeknight down at spring training?
For me, I'm staying at a hotel, so on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, they have a nice little meal in the lobby. And yeah, a pretty boring night. Plan on being in bed in the next 45 minutes or so.
Well, awesome. So, hey, so those that don't know who you are, let me give you a little introduction.
Oh, nice.
So I'm talking with Tim Dillard, or otherwise known as Dim Tillard, professional baseball pitcher in the Texas Rangers organization. Tim's more known for being part of our own AAA Nashville Sounds.
Yeah.
You are the Sounds franchise leader in wins, games pitched, innings pitched, and strikeouts. Is that true?
Yeah, but you forgot one. Actually, you forgot several. There's also There's also walks.
Okay.
Home runs given up. Runs given up. I think.
Well, that just
hit by hit batsmen. I've hit a lot of guys. So
yeah, well, that just goes along with the experience of playing for so long. So
sure.
Yeah, and you were voted 2019 MVP last year, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess it was the team that voted. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I got like a clarification on that, but either way, that's really cool. When you're doing something and you get recognized by your peers, that's probably the best compliment you can get. So my kids also said I did well, so that helped.
Yes. So hey, we're gonna talk more about baseball here, but where did you actually grow up?
Well, my dad he actually played in the big leagues and then got into coaching. So he started with the White Sox with the Gulf Coast team down in Florida. So I was born in Sarasota, lived in Bradenton for about 13 years, and then moved to Mississippi, where both my parents are from. And then I went to high school and college there, and then got drafted after my second year of college, or signed after my second year of college. And then, I don't know, my first year in AAA was 2007, and my wife and I decided, hey, why don't we just, live in Nashville? That's where we played the entire season. Loved the city. So since 2007, around April 2nd, we've been Nashvillians.
Okay, well, cool. So yeah, going back to your dad, it was Steve Dillard. So he played, I think you just said this, but he played 8 seasons for Red Sox, Tigers, Cubs, White Sox, and then he had a career in managing in the minor league system too, correct?
Yeah, coached for a long time, pretty much my entire life.
Yeah, so when you were a kid, are you one of those kids that started playing baseball really young? And
I mean, I guess as far as I could remember, I mean, as far back as I have any memories, but I got 2 older brothers, so they really were into baseball, and they were always like, hey, let's go play baseball. And so I was kind of just trying to always keep up with them. And when they wanted to both of them wanted to be shortstops, somebody had to play first. So that was me. And they just, I had to learn how to field over at first. And then one of my brothers was like, hey, I want to be a pitcher. So I was like, okay, well, somebody's got to catch you, so I'll just be a catcher. And I don't know. I just wanted to kind of be just hang around them and be around them. And I always liked baseball, but I didn't think I was any good at it. So I don't know if I ever I enjoyed it. But what I found is I was always playing against people that were older than me and bigger than me. And then it probably wasn't until high school I realized I'm like, oh, I can actually compete out here. So I don't know. I as far as I can tell, baseball's just been in my blood. I grew up in the clubhouse. It's pretty much all I've known. Yeah.
So what I found really interesting is that you actually played catcher in high school, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But so let's see how accurate Wikipedia is about your history here. So
we'll see. Probably not very good.
All right, so you can fill in some gaps here. So after your senior year of high school, you were selected by the Brewers in is it the 2001 draft?
Yep.
Okay, and then you had recently underwent some shoulder surgery and couldn't actually commit to playing.
Well, I got drafted in the June draft, I guess.
Yeah.
And I actually had hurt my shoulder in high school, probably like the last couple weeks of high school. I was actually swinging for some scouts after a game, and my left shoulder subluxed. I used to swing really big. And anyway, it kind of was nagging me, and to the point where high school playoffs, I had to turn around and bat left-handed. It's something I kind of did as a kid. And anyway, Once I got drafted, it was, or let's say that was in June-ish. I didn't have surgery until October of 2001. So it'd been several months later, and I was already in college by then. But it just never got any better. Tried to rehab it, and that's one of the reasons I didn't sign as a catcher in 2001. Is, it would have looked really bad. They draft me, and I go, and then I just show up and I'm hurt. They knew that, and they were like, "Listen, you're young." I graduated at 17. They were like, "Hey, you're young. We'll stick with you. Go get healthy." And so, anyway, yeah, that was my 2001.
Okay, so then fast forward a year, you got drafted again in the 34th round.
Yep.
Okay, so has that ever happened before? Has a player ever got drafted, 2 years in a row?
Yeah.
Or is that okay. So that happens all the time then.
It does. Like, I guess in most cases, guys will get drafted and they're like, let's say the 10th round. And they're like, well, I can go to college, up my stock, and possibly, get drafted in, say, the 3rd round, which means more money or more prospect status or whatever. Mine was purely on injury. Not that I don't, like school. School's great, sure. I was just wanting to play baseball. But by that time, I was like, just get me out there. I want to play. So after during my second year of college, or first year of college, I didn't really play that much because I was more or less rehabbing. So they kind of just drafted me as an afterthought in the 34th round, like, hey, we're still kind of hanging on, but you need to, kick it in gear. So my second year of junior college in 2003, I did really well. I caught really good. I hit really good. And I started coming in and closing some of the games. And then towards the end of the season, trying to make playoffs and things like that, I started pitching, starting. I would catch the first game of a doubleheader. I would catch 7 innings. And then the next game I would throw 7 innings. And when it came down the stretch, we went to the Junior College World Series, and I don't know. I guess the Brewers just thought I'd have a longer career as a pitcher, and I fought them against it a little bit. I was like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a good catcher, and they're like, no, you're gonna have a long career as a pitcher. And I mean, that was that was 18 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So did you grow up being a pitcher then, as well as a catcher, or is it
not really?
Not really.
Yeah, I just high school.
Okay.
I don't know. My junior year, I caught all the guys trying out for pitcher, and my coach was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And I'm like, "We're not going to be very good. We didn't have anybody that could just go out there and shut the door, or we didn't have anybody that we could rally behind." And I was like, "Man, I guess I'll have to pitch." My coach was like, "Well, we don't have another catcher." And so we found the strongest kid on the team that could, get back there and catch. And like I said, I thought I was terrible until like my junior year. Like right before my junior year, my throws from catcher to second base started going the entire, way. So when I was pitching, I was like, wow, I can actually throw it to the plate, and it's on a line. It's not like with a big rainbow. So, I was kind of just discovering what I could do or what I was capable of after basically, 10 years of playing against just people older than me. And bigger than me.
There's a big gap here. I mean, between 2003, 2018, I think you spent your majority of time in the Brewers organization, right? Primarily in the minors. I know you had a couple stints where you got called up. I think one thing, it's funny it mentions this. It's kind of like, it makes it look like a claim to fame where you pitched 1 inning in 2008, I think, and struck out Aaron Boone.
Oh, yeah. That was my first outing in the big leagues. I got called up one morning, had to fly to Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day weekend. And they had the brand new stadium in 2008. So it's like, billion-dollar stadium, 40,000 people. And I got there about an hour and a half before game time. So it was kind of a whirlwind. I get down to the bullpen. I finally get a breather. And before I know it, it's like the 5th or 6th or 7th inning, whatever it was. And they're like, get Dillard hot. So I started getting up, and I still didn't really know anything that was going on. And so I got loose. They're like, you ready? I'm like, I'm ready. And they're like, all right, you're in. And I was like, okay, don't trip. So I'm running in from like left center, and there's so many people there. And I was just like, all in my head, I was going left, right, and I got out to the mound, and Jason Kendall was my catcher. The guy had like 16 years in the show. And, we were going over signs, and he goes, okay, let's have fun. And I was like, I tried to be all serious. I was like, okay, let's do this. And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, oh man, I've already humiliated myself. So after that, it was pretty easy. I don't even remember what happened, but I did strike out Aaron Boone. So that's kind of my, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of accolades, but I guess he's he's a big guy in the Yankees organization. So I had the ball on my shelf.
So at some point in there, the Nashville Sounds, I don't know how long they're affiliated with the Brewers. I know you were in a couple other minor league teams as well, but more recently, the Sounds just became the AAA affiliate of the Rangers. That was recent, right? Just in the last year or so. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Brewers were there maybe 2005 to 2014. Ish.
Okay.
Maybe 2004 to 2014, maybe. And then 2015 came over. That's when they got the new ballpark. And the Brewers weren't able to renew their lease. And so the A's came in. So it was the A's. They signed a 4-year deal. And as soon as their 4-year deal was up, 2015, 16, 17, 18, the Rangers came in and were able to negotiate to me, which is one of the best places to play in minor league baseball, which is Nashville. And so I thought my career was over, and the Rangers were like, hey, you want to come play in Nashville? And I was like, awesome. Who is this? I have no idea who this is. Is this a real call, or are you messing with me? It was real. And pitched all year last year with them.
Yeah. And you were already living here, right? You said around 2017?
Yeah, 2007.
Yeah, or 2007. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So at the end of the year, when everyone else was like, I got a flight to California, or I got a long drive to Texas, I was like, all right, guys, I got a 22-minute drive south. So,
So you're still killing it, man. Last August, I think what are you, 36 now? I don't mean to age you, but I'm older than you now. So, but
if a scout's asking, 25, but
25.
Real age is 36. Yeah.
Yeah. So you pitched a complete game, I think, last August. So it's the first complete game for the Sounds since like 2016. Your 10th career complete game in the minor leagues.
I threw 5 in high A ball. In like 2005, and I don't remember 2006. But I started a little bit here and there. But I think it was my first complete game since 2009. And I'm going to even say that even in 2009, I don't know if it was a 9-inning complete game. I know I threw 1 8-inning game. It was supposed to be 7, and we played extras. So that might be my first 9-inning game, complete game since like 2007, I would say.
Okay.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Especially at 36 years old.
Yeah.
So after last season, so you got re-signed, correct, to a minor league contract again, and then with an invitation to spring training. Yeah.
Well, they didn't sign me back, so I had to kind of. I got on the horn and was like, letting them know how good I was. Hey, come here, and listen to how good I am, so you'll sign me back. And apparently they tried to, figure out all these other moves. They tried to go get some guy named Corey Kluber. I don't know. So apparently that was more important. But anyway, they said, we're interested in signing you back. Didn't know when. And then it came right before Christmas. So anyway, you never dream how long you're going to play, but it's crazy.
Pretty much ever since I started this podcast, I've been telling you about a service called Anchor. And if you hadn't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And who doesn't have a podcast these days? Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you truly need to make a podcast in one place. Here's what you need to do. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So how does that work with the invitation to spring training with the Rangers? If you're technically still, playing in the minors, I mean, is that just trying to grab a roster spot on the 40-man roster, or?
Well, they have 40-man. They have the 40-man, but then they bring in what's called non-roster invitees. It could be young guys from their own system, the Ranger system, or it could be outside free agents that they bring in. I think they had maybe 68 people in camp when it started. I have no idea how many are left, but I was one of the first waves sent down maybe about 4 to 5 days ago. Anyway, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. You can only have 26 guys on the roster now. They changed it from 25 to 26 this past season. So, if you're not one of those top 13 pitchers, which 5 of them are starters, so basically you have roughly 27 pitchers, I think, going for 8 spots. It becomes difficult, and especially when some guys go out there and sign contracts, and there could be like 20 people going up for like 2 spots. So the competition there is very steep, and they want to win. Teams want to win. It's not like it's a strategic like, oh, we'll do this and we'll have this hot commodity that we can trade or something. No, they want to win, so they're going with the best guys they got, and they have a plethora of good talent right now.
So you've been playing a long time. What's kind of your secret to your success that keeps you going in baseball?
I don't know. Actually, a young guy asked me that the other day. It just comes back to taking care of yourself. Like, I don't go jet skiing, or mountain climbing or something like that. That's just kind of the obvious stuff. You'd be surprised how many people probably go out there and get hurt doing some extracurricular activities in the off season. I'm not one of those guys. I'm pretty lazy. You can ask my wife. I don't know. I like to get my rest. I wake up every day and I drink about 40 ounces of water. That's the first thing I do. It helps, throughout the entire day. I found that out about 10 years ago, and it's pretty much changed my life when it comes to every aspect. It's very strange how that's not more prevalent. People don't do that. I know it seems weird, but if you get in the habit of drinking that much water every day, you'll see the benefits of it. But anyway, I'm not a nutritionist, but that's what some nutritionists say. And then I just we go to Costco and buy ibuprofen. So that's probably about it.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I wanna talk a little bit off the field too now. So,
Sure.
You're becoming you're getting a cult following on social media for these videos you're posting. So just for listeners' purpose, you're using audio recording sound bites from movies, different shows, musics, and you and your buddies or your teammates are dubbing over that audio. So how did that get started?
Yeah, 2015, a teammate of mine asked me if I had the Dub Smash app. It was this app that would do about 10 seconds of audio, and you would fill in the video. So it would have a clip from like, Dumb and Dumber or like Anchorman, or it'd be a song. And you would just, supply the video of like lip syncing. Everybody likes to do it. There's TV shows about it. I used to, with my brothers, we would make videos for our grandparents for Christmas. And so we would, instead of having like this, giant video camcorder with a VHS that's tethered to the VCR, like the whole 80s vibe. Now I have my phone. And so after years of playing cards and, board games, we play cribbage in the clubhouse or whatever, I was like, this would be cool if I just started making these little videos. And so I made like 20 videos just with me in like the first couple hours. I discovered this app. And then after that, I started getting my teammates involved. And what was interesting is I'd been on and off with the Brewers for at that time, probably parts of like 12 years, 13 years. And I think I had built up maybe a certain level of trust, because one of the things about clubhouses, whatever sport it is, that's the sacred temple. Like, that's where you keep everything. Nothing leaves the clubhouse. That's your home. That's your trust tree or whatever. And so when you start filming inside of that, it can turn people off. There's a lot of players that were like, no, I'm not going to buy into that. But the Brewers trusted me that I wasn't going to make anybody look bad. I'll make them look silly, make them do something silly, but I'm not going to make them look bad. I'm not going to make the organization look bad. And so they kind of gave me some free reign, even though I was like, hey, I'll stop this whenever you want. They're like, no, it's funny. I talked to one of our assistant farm directors at the time, and I said, hey, do I need to stop making these videos? He goes, every time you make a video, I get a text message from my mom going, hey, he put another video out there. So he's like, people are enjoying it, and it's PG. I'm not putting like, anything bad out there. I don't put anything out there that I can't show my kids, because my kids like watching these videos too. And so it's all in good fun. We all have a great time. And that's pretty much it. Since then, though, the Dub Smash app is pretty much garbage. I don't even think anybody uses it anymore. It's turned over. Now it's like they have TikTok, which I can't fully comprehend exactly what that is yet. That'll take time. But basically we just play the music or play the audio, and we just act it out like a play.
So either it takes you either a long time to do these videos, or a lot of movie quotes.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I can, like the other day we did a Anchorman scene. And so, I'm, like I said, I just hang out at the hotel and I eat downstairs at whatever they have. And I go to bed at 8:00. So somewhere between 7 and 8, I'll just take a clip and I'll edit it to exactly what I want, because Instagram's only a minute long. So I don't want to make my videos usually over a minute. So I have this minute long rehearsal thing. We did an Anchorman one. And once I was done with it, I sent it to 3 guys I thought would be perfect for it. And they rehearsed it, I guess, over the, whatever the night and the morning. And we showed up and I put it together a little scene. And I was like, you guys ready to go? It's like, let's go. And 3 takes later, to me, it's one of the best ones we've ever done. It was pretty fun. There was a couple of guys that had never been in a video before. That was their first one and they enjoyed it. So it's not that it takes a lot of planning or it's hard or it takes a long time. It's just, having an idea and then having willing participants. I'm a big willing participant kind of guy. So.
Yeah. I wanted to bring this up. So what was the whole thing with your Twitter being suspended?
I know, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
Was that on Wikipedia?
No, I think I just remember following you on social media when that happened.
Yeah, that makes sense. They, I don't know. We were in Oklahoma City playing the Dodgers, and I walked in the clubhouse. I'm usually the first one there. I don't think any coaches were there. I just went in and sat down, had my Starbucks, and just, I don't know, ready to start my day. And guy walks in and goes, dude, something's going on with your Twitter. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I was about to open it up, and another guy walks in and was like, hey, I think you blocked me on Twitter. And I was like, what is going on? And I looked at it, and it turns out, like, I got an email that said, hey, we've suspended your account for copyright infringement. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. They're like, you're not Mariah Carey or Eminem or whatever. But anyway, yeah, that's what it was. And it was 3 months. It was exactly 3 months after they suspended me that I got another email. I was at my son's baseball game and I got an email out of nowhere from Twitter, and I clicked it and they were like, congratulations, you are unsuspended. Please do not post any copyrighted material. And so the next day I just did the most copyrighted video I've ever made, because they're not gonna care. I mean, what are they gonna do? Suspend me? It'll be fine. I'll survive.
Yeah, that was just a funny time to follow along with that. Yeah, you posted some funny videos along with that too. So
yeah, we have a good time. I can tell that's what's kind of interesting. And I'm in the clubhouse with guys that are like 22, 23. They're over 10 years younger than me. And in a lot of ways, they look up to maybe not like, hey, I want to have a career like his. Nobody wants to stay in the minor leagues for as long as I've been in the minor leagues. But they do know, okay, what's this guy doing that he's been around this long? How does he handle every, situations in baseball, outside of baseball? And so I know that. I know guys are kind of watching me. And so whatever the situation is, if it's good, bad, indifferent, I just kind of have to keep it in perspective. And show guys that, hey, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's just Twitter, and when a game doesn't go your way, you just have to go, it's just baseball. Like, yes, it's your job, but in the big scheme of things, you're going to get up tomorrow and it's all going to be about what you do that day. It has nothing to do with what happened the day before. And it's how to press through those little moments, keeping things in perspective. I mean, I try to do that with my kids. Why wouldn't I do that with my teammates?
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up about kids. So I have 3 small kids, and I know you have some kids too. But what's your secret or the keys to parenthood while being a professional ball player, or in general, just someone who travels for their job?
Yeah. You better have an awesome wife. Your wife better be legit. Because there's no handbook. There's no instruction manual. But everyone thinks that maybe there's something out there. What's the right formula or whatever? And none of that matters. Like, to me, people have given me books like how to have your best fatherhooding, wife, husbanding now. Like, I don't know any of that. I don't read a lot. It's fine. I can still pronounce most words. But for me, it's like, okay, there's never been a dynamic like this before. Sure, people have had families and played baseball, but I'm kind of a unicorn or a Sasquatch with my beard when it comes to playing this long in professional baseball, but in the minor leagues. If you're in the big leagues, things are different. I mean, you're in the big leagues, you could, homeschool your kids with a private math tutor and fly them across the world. And like, that's part of it. You can do that. In the minor leagues, it's no, people have to stay at home and go to school, and that's how your life is. And so what we do is we just come up with a plan and know that the plan changes literally every day. But one thing that we really harp on is that it's basically, it's us against the world. Like, no matter what, I got my wife's back. She has my back. We got the kids' backs. It's like, it's not being a selfish thing. It's going, okay, how can I better love other people? It's knowing like, okay, my inner circle, like we're strong, we're good, we're priority. And then what does that look like reaching out? And so it's if you're having trouble at home, it's really hard to care about other people because you're always kind of worried about what's going on. And so we just, I don't know, we wing it. We try to plan, but then that goes awry and we wing it. And at the end of the day, we know that, hey, we got each other.
Well, awesome. Yeah, that's great. So what kind of things do you do in the off season? I'm sure you're playing dad, but what's a typical day like in the off season?
Literally the next day after the season was over, we didn't make playoffs. So I drove my 24-minute drive home or whatever it was, and woke up the next day and made lunches for my kids, made sure they got to the school bus. And then my youngest is 4 and he got up and I made him breakfast, which sounds complicated, but it's usually just like a waffle in the toaster. And then I drive him to preschool, and that's pretty much it. Like that's kind of the typical day. And I'll try to cook dinners and vacuum and, pick up and do the dishes, make coffee. Coffee's a huge one in our house. Make sure we always have coffee. But anyway, basically what I do is I try to make the load that my wife has had to drag and carry for so many months. Just let her do whatever. I mean, things she has planned or friends she wants to see. It's like, get after it, because I've been traveling for so long. I kind of want to be home. And then there's that moment where she's been tethered to the house for so long and she's ready to get out. So that's kind of the first probably month of us are just kind of, switching roles in a lot of ways. And it's really good because it helps me appreciate her so much more, because I don't care who you are. Parenting is hard. Being at home is hard, and making sure the kids are, all in the right, fed and in bed and in the right mind and taken care of and dug into, and the relationships are there. And usually before we go to bed, it's always, we'll try to have a big wrestling match. I love, wrestling with the kids, just kind of give them that outlet that they have. That, maybe they won't beat up somebody at school. Maybe they'll just try to beat me up. So that way we just wrestle really good and they get their aggression out, and it's really fun. And we laugh and nobody gets hurt. And I don't know, something about just that interacting. It's a game changer.
I don't know when this is. This may be a ways off, but so what's after baseball?
Oh, no.
I know. Yeah. So what's after baseball? I read somewhere that you were learning to build websites, or you built your own. You're doing a lot on social media. So
I don't know. I was actually part of a podcast that we've kind of dissolved as of now, just because of different schedules and things like that. But I had to figure out how to make a podcast, which obviously you know how to do too. I've created a couple of websites, my own personal and then the one for the podcast. And I don't know, I make these videos. I just try to figure out what's next. I like graphic design. I don't have a lot of schooling. I don't know. I could drive a car. I could probably jog pretty far. Like, I have skills. I just don't know where they apply. I don't know if I want to be a coach or in broadcasting or something like that, but I used to worry about it. I used to think that I was done playing like 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 days ago. Like, you don't really know when it's done, which makes it even more fun. Like, when I go to the clubhouse, I'm having more fun than anybody, because I know how fleeting this is, and it could be my last day they let me in there. They could change the code on the door and I couldn't get in, and that's how I would know that my career's over. So when the code works, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And And part of enjoying that is not really knowing what is coming next.
Yeah.
Because I worried about it for so many years, what's going to happen next. And it didn't help anything. I tried to acquire skills and make contacts and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's good. Worrying about what comes next is going to affect what you're doing at the moment. So I really try not to think about it, but just not really say no to anything. I'm really up for anything because I know that I'm going to learn from other people that are doing things. And so it'll help me hopefully in the future finding, what maybe I'm supposed to do next after baseball.
So this season, I mean, are you coming back to Nashville then for the Sounds or?
Well, that's the joy and the probably quintessential toughest thing about baseball is you have no idea.
Okay.
You can assume all day long, but there's a clubhouse full of kids that I walk into every single day, and those guys, they're going to assume every single which direction, but they have no idea. The coaches right now that make all the decisions, they don't know because they have, well over 200 people that have to go to different places, but there's only maybe 125 spots. So a lot of stuff has to happen. And I'm just one of these guys that I just can't play. It's called playing GM. When you start trying to figure out who goes where, you're essentially trying to take over the GM's job. And I'm going to be honest, being a general manager of a professional team is difficult. So I'm going to leave it to them. And I'm just going to try to do the best I can. So hopefully they won't send me home. That's what I was hinting at is that, anyway, you don't really know. You hope, but you just don't know.
Well, I hope for the best for that. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a team like your team? I mean, you can't say the Rangers. I have a feeling it may be the beloved Cubs, but I don't know. Just because of the guys you do your podcast with. I know those guys. One of them played for the Cubs, and the other two I think are Cubs fans.
Yeah, I mean the Cubs. My dad played in the big leagues for the Cubs. We had Cubs stuff all around our house. One of the 3 channels we had growing up was WGN. I loved Harry Carey. But I'm pretty sure as soon as I was drafted by the Brewers the first time, I was kind of like, nah, I'm a big Brewers fan. And I was a big Brewers fan for, several years. And now I'm a huge Rangers fan. And so right now that's kind of how I roll. I don't, there's a lot of people that hold really tight to different teams. And, I'm very superficial. I'm not very deep. And it's, whoever's paying me is paying me for their loyalty. and like Dwight Schrute, if there's a team out there that wants to pay me more for my loyalty, then I'll be loyal to them. So anyway, I don't know if you've seen that Office episode, but it's absolutely one of the best. But yes, my favorite team is the Rangers. Yay.
Okay, that's fair. I did want to plug your website. So your website's dimtillard.com. So what's the deal with switching the letters of your name? Is there something, to that or?
Yeah, I mean, sort of. I was in 2013, I was living in a basement in Pennsylvania. I was playing for an independent team. And I was on the phone with my wife, and she was like, you're probably done with baseball. That's what it looks like right now. So you need to get on some of these social media platforms so you can help you, meet people, about what you're going to do next in life. And for me, I like to think I'm a creative person. So having that outlet, she thought would be good for me. And anyway, she probably totally regrets it now. But anyway, I got Twitter and just decided I'm not going to put anything out there that's, controversial or anything. I'm just going to go and have fun. It's going to be silly and pointless, and people can jump on board with that or not, whatever. And so I typed in, I was like, I'm going to be Tim Dillard. But then I realized there was 25 Tim Dillards. And so I was like, okay, number one, I'm not very special. So that hit me hard. And I was like, okay. So then I thought Dim Tillard, because I played one of my teammates, John Axford, who was the closer with the Brewers for a few years. He would walk around and say that about everybody. He would reverse everyone's initial. And so he called me Dim Tillard, and a couple other people in the bullpen would call me Dim Tillard. And next thing I know, I was like, I'll just type that in. And I don't know. That was 2013. Today is, what is today? 2020. So yeah, that's how long I've had Twitter. And Dim Tillard is, I don't know, Dim Tillard has Instagram and Facebook and website for no reason other than, I don't know. There is no reason.
Well, there you go. That was my discussion with Mr. Tim Dillard. I hope you found that to fill your baseball void, but also a little comical there as well. Tim is a funny guy, definitely. Please go check out his website at dimtillard.com and social media and give him a follow. Tim mentioned a podcast that he used to do with his good buddies called the Show and Go Podcast, which is now on hiatus. He was doing that with his good buddies Ben Zobrist of the Chicago Cubs, Ryan Schmalz, who is the head baseball coach at Trevecca Nazarene University, and Joshua Costello, who is a personal trainer in the Franklin, Tennessee area. So just a shout out to those other local guys. So on social media within the last couple days, Tim actually announced a new podcast that he's launching soon called The Inner Monologue of Dim Tillard. So be on the lookout for that. Before we close out, as always, you can reach out to me via email at 99percentlocalpod@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at 99percentlocalpod. So until next week, take care.